go forward and hopefully continue to fight against what we see as a regime and a fascist government. I'm going to start by reading a poem by Harriet Mullen called "We Are Not Responsible." We are not responsible for your lost or stolen relatives. We cannot guarantee your safety if you disobey our instructions. We do not endorse the causes or claims of people begging for handouts. We reserve the right to refuse service to anyone. Your ticket does not guarantee that we will honor your reservations. In order to facilitate our procedures, please limit your carrying on. Before taking off, please extinguish all smoldering resentments. If you cannot understand English, you will be moved out of the way. In the event of a loss, you'd better look out for yourself. Your insurance was canceled because we can no longer handle your frightful claims. Our handlers lost your luggage, and we are unable to find the key to your legal case. You were detained for interrogation because you fit the profile. You are not presumed to be innocent if the police have reason to suspect you of carrying a concealed wallet. It's not our fault you were born wearing a gang color. It is not our obligation to inform you of your rights. Step aside, please, while our officer inspects your bad attitude. You have no rights we are bound to respect. Please remain calm, or we can't be held responsible for what happens to you. When I read this poem, it just seemed to say it all to me, everything that we're experiencing. And again, you know, it's a somewhat negative take on the world, but that's what we're living. And somehow we have to find the energy to keep moving forward and to keep fighting what we're seeing as injustice. I'd like to invite whoever would like to say a few words. You can say it from wherever you're seated, and let us know how you're feeling about our government and our America. Fran?
Oh,
you want to?
Well, I didn't know if everyone was aware that ICE agents are very active in this area. We just got news that one of our community members who owns Cam Fung restaurant in the Price Chocolate Plaza, he was detained in Buffalo and he is now in a detention center. And it just ungravitated to me to think that in this small town. I also have heard from other people who got my messages that they are milling around the Owego golf course up there. They went in, but didn't get anybody, but they're milling around up there. So I don't think where any of us is safe at all. But this family has been here for more than 20 years. Their children went to our school. The one daughter is in med school. The other daughter is going into college. A wonderful family, beautiful community member. And why? Why?
There's no explanation for it.
What would they need to meet their quota?
If ICE were to show up here right now, what would we do?
Sit down.
I would sit down, lock arms.
I tell them, shame on you. Shame. I did try to find out what the requirements were. Driver's license, ability to handle a gun. There's 4. None of them made qualified. I mean, anybody can be qualified. There really is qualifications.
If they're not identifying themselves,
They're supposed to, but they're not.
if there's no identifying sign, or if there's no identification as they come up to the person that they want to take away, you have the right to call 911. You could ask the person to identify themselves, to show them the badge, and give them their number. But if they refuse, again, you can call 911 and quite frankly say, there's a man with a gun and he's kidnapping someone.
And he says he's an officer, and there was all that shooting in Minnesota with somebody who said he was an officer.
For those of you to just try to build community so that we are going forward with it energy to try to continue our fight. We've had some ICE agents in the area, and some of our neighbors have been taken, and that is very upsetting. We also know that recently 4 of us went before the Tioga County Legislature requesting that they adopt a draft resolution that would, as a community, state to the federal legislators that we're against this horrible budget bill. And we asked the legislators to review our resolution, and we asked them to come back together in July with an answer. Their answer was to go to the press and to say that this was not something they were going to support, and then go on to explain that the people that went before them asking this request were from big metropolitan areas and were, talking about fraud in cities and not here, that this was a community that didn't have fraud and abuse. Essentially, they ignored the request that they look at the budget cuts. Medicaid in this area is 30% of our population. SNAP, we have 5,000 people registered. They absolutely ignored that whole discussion. And, that is very upsetting to us because we weren't taken seriously, and the legislature essentially did not, shall we say, embrace our community. And so we need to embrace our community.
I heard,
Please.
Rita, is that resolution was based on a resolution that was passed by a similar county, by
Yes.
Schuyler County, and also by the New York Association of Counties, which Tioga is part of. So the fact that they wouldn't even consider it is just
A slap in the face.
Yes, yeah.
It truly is. It's saying to our residents here in Tioga County that you don't matter, that we don't believe that this is a problem, that nobody is going to cut your benefits. But yet we know that that's what's coming, and we know that this work requirement is going to be costly. It's going to wind up being cost, and it has never worked. Yes.
We don't have a pharmacy here now because so many people, I tried to research levels, why don't we have a pharmacy when they close? And the doctor told me there's so many people on Medicaid because Medicaid pays so little that it's pockets of Medicaid. They'll never run a pharmacy because they just don't get enough reimbursement. So already,
Yes.
so we have no pharmacy.
We also already have a nursing home again closing in Boone County, Hilltop. Been there for years and years and years, and they, comment that Medicaid funding is part of the reason. We expect to see more of that. We don't have good ambulance services. We struggle in some of our rural areas, and we know we're going to be hard hit. Does anybody else have anything they'd like to share?
Yeah, I'd like to speak to the point that the sister, sorry, what was her name? Ruth raised. I think it's important that we were already in crisis, and that's something that Sister Mary brought out in her moment. We are already in crisis here in terms of people's inability to afford food, their inability to access health care. Things are already very tight. And when we're already in a crisis like that, to have a budget bill put forward that will not only hurt our communities, but also increase the deficit. So will hurt us in 2 ways. For the purpose of funding more war, more ICE terror, and tax cuts for the rich, it goes beyond. Like, there's always the Republican Party has always been trying to attack the rights of the poor. but this is a new level. Yes, yeah. They change. But it's a new level of contempt and deliberate cruelty, and I think that's what, for me, cut kind of deeply with the legislature, to see them embrace that kind of just total disregard for the lives and well-being of people.
One of the unbelievable pieces of this, whatever you want to call it, bill, is that those who have to work, it used to be 52, it's going up to 64, 63 for Medicaid. You have to apply now every 6 months. You can't just apply. It's every 6 months you have to put in an application. So if you know anyone who is on assistance, who is probably already working, you better let them know to keep track of that, because if they don't have it in by the 6 months, they're up.
So Sister Mary is from our Tioga Rural Ministries, and she spoke before us constituents at the Tioga County Legislature, and she talked about how in this area, since the pandemic, she's been seeing working families coming to her that can't make ends meet and needing help financially. This has increased, I'm not remembering the percentage stuff. It was
73% in terms of the number of full-time employed people needing, I think, either food or cash assistance.
Cash to pay bills. You know, we are in crisis. So what kind of times are these? There's a place between two stands of trees where the grass grows uphill and the old revolutionary road breaks off into shadows. Near a meeting house abandoned by the persecuted who disappeared into those shadows. I've walked there, picking mushrooms at the edge of dread. But don't be fooled. This isn't a Russian poem. This is not somewhere else, but here. Our country moving closer to its own truth and dread, its own ways of making people disappear. I won't tell you where the place is. Dark mesh of the woods, meeting the unmarked stripe of light, strip of light. Ghost-ridden crossroads, leaf mold paradise. I know already who wants to buy it, sell it, make it disappear. And I won't tell you where it is. So why do I tell you anything? Because you still listen. Because in times like these, to have you listen at all, it's necessary to talk about trees. So, what do you hear from your friends, from your neighbors? Mayor Jim.
So, we all know what the problems are. We've said them very well what the issues are. And I hear those same, to answer that question, I hear those same things from people that I talk to. So, I'm not looking to go off script, but we know the issue. What are we going to do about it? These are the things that we can do, and I'm new to the party, basically. I was the other party for over 50 years.
The other part.
We crossed paths.
And
Welcome.
January, the January 6th brought me to the party.
Good.
I always voted my conscience. Everybody. So, with that being said, there's all kinds of things out there. And it is cruelty, and it is meanness. But they don't know that it's cruelty and meanness because they have no empathy. Sometimes I say they're the bad guys. Well, they're not the bad guys. They're just, they're the bad guys. So, so what do you do about it? So we contact our friends. We contact our friends in the party. But that's not enough. We have to contact the independents too. And we have to start talking to Republicans and find out where those polls are. I was a moderate, a little to the left even Republican, I was on the Republican committee and I fought for what I believed in. But, so, we have to talk to everybody.
Absolutely. No.
So we have to talk
right
to
on.
everybody. Democrats, but you already got some votes now, but they may be too busy to get out and vote in 2026.
That's right.
Busing, cars, we take them to the polls.
Talk to them. Ask them. How are they getting there? What's your plan
Yes,
to get there?
exactly.
And we need to start now with voter registration forms. I would love it if everybody would stop and pick up. I only had a couple. If you're in Tioga County, if you're in Tioga County, it's on Route 38, the Board of Elections, and you can stop in and they'll give you forms to carry. And when you're talking to your friends and neighbors, I mean, Joan, you had the perfect example of asking or talking to your mail carrier. Oh, yeah. Will you tell that story?
Sure. I'll tell that and then I'll gripe. So, I don't know how many of you know it, but I've been writing a volunteer for the Courier. I've been doing that because I think the free press is really, really important. And the Courier has high journalistic standards. It does not print opinion as news. And so and they also, it's a two-string operation. And I figured for $40 a year, I've been subscribing, but now I'm writing also. So one day, I now have a new mail carrier. Goes up in the truck, and every once in a while, I will try to get in the driveway, not have to open the door or whatever. And I got the mail, and she said, "Are you the person writing for the Courier?" I was like, "Yeah, yes." And she said, "Thank you." And then I asked her, sent you this paper? She said, "No, I don't read yours." People's copy said she was doing that. I was like, "Oh, God, I want to order the paper." And then another time she came and I put her a little note saying thank you. But another time I saw her, I asked her whether she was registered. And we thought to ask her, "Are you registered?" She said, "Yes." My family was very Republican, and when I registered. She said, but after I found out that Fox News is really Fox Entertainment, I started doing some research and decided that what my father was saying was all wrong. And so I said, well, then change your registration. She asked something about how, whatever. And so I ran up into my spare record and got a registration for me. Awesome. She said, yes, she was going to switch to being a reporter. So you never know when the moment.
Absolutely.
My gripe is, I think we really need to speak out. We need to make it clear that we are not outsiders. I am so sick of these news things that say, after I know
Oh, yes.
what was on Owego, our local radio, was that buses came, about people getting on buses. Really? I mean, first of all, where do you get people busing in from anywhere to Tioga County when there were protests going on all around us? Secondly, I did go talk to the radio station 2 days after that. Right? I did go and confront them, and the announcer said, well, that's what I was told. That's right. And so I said, who would have paid for the buses? They said, well, the organizers. I said, Kevin Millar organized that, the former mayor. Where do you think he's getting the money to pay for
He's a
buses?
council member, yeah.
And we don't even have bus service. There is no bus service in
I love that they have bus service.
So where in the world, where do they park buses? I mean, it's just absolutely absurd. So the fact that the legislature, that there were 4 of us with our names on that resolution, I was one of them. And the fact that I'm just so furious, the fact that I read in the paper that one of the legislatures, not mine particularly, but one of them there, was the one who was saying these are outsiders, these are people who want to keep their profits from the fraud. I was his wife's high school teacher. I was shoveling sand into bags in 1972 when he was 14 years old. Excuse me, if I don't have a right to be a constituent here, who does? Do I need another 5 years, another 10 years, another 15 years, another 20 years? Will they arrive in another 20 years? I mean, what does it take for them to recognize that we are not outsiders, except that they label us as such? But we don't have
because we're not Republicans.
we don't have to accept
They're
it.
in the same line as
Well said.
Yeah, you're good.
Thank you, John. So
And I have to tell the people here what a wonderful job this man did, and Scott organizing the first Pride picnic in Waverly, New York.
Awesome.
So we got a great turnout.
we had our first Valley Pride picnic, and we had at least 150 people come, and it all went very picture perfect. And we had one of our colleagues who gathered some comments from a wide variety of people, and all of them were just so happy and so thrilled to have been there and been part of that experience. I had a young man come up to me afterward and ask about the Democratic Party. He lives in Waverly. He wants to become more politically active. And I think that's an example of the things we have to continue to do, just like tonight. It's about building connection and relationship and sharing the truth. I serve to add what you were saying earlier about the numbers and what we're already in crisis. I serve on the board for the Food Bank of the Southern Tier. We just met the other night, Thursday. We had a wonderful meeting with our council. But this is now, goodness, the 4th year I've been on that board, council now. And the numbers of people, the number of requests for food in our region continue to go up month after month after month. This is before this big, beautiful bill gets passed, okay? So our council was meeting to talk about what do we do? Are we ready to meet the need? And already there has been a hold up on HIPNAP funding, which supplies free or reduced foods for us to get and distribute. So already food pantries are starting to go bare on their shelves. And the food bank has resources, but we're trying to think how to use those the best way. And we brainstormed, and all of us are concerned, but hopeful and determined. And what did I put up on the wall? I don't always follow the rules, but because it had 3 questions to answer, what can we do, this type of thing. And my answer was, we need to confront the lies head on. Because even within the food system, and just like we're hearing, if our elected officials don't believe Sister Mary, don't believe their own constituents, and if they don't, not only that, don't believe them, but they don't care whatsoever, then we have to be even more forceful and unified. And that's one thing I told the council, the food bank, is that we need to lock arms with all of those who are demonstrating and understanding that we have to turn the tide. No longer can we let false accusations and information go unchecked.
Kind of in that vein of confronting things head on, I think, so the elections are really, really important in 2026. I think we have all grasped. I mean, we thought they were important before, and now they're just even more important. But we're also so there's a need for us to do, in a certain sense, what we should have been doing all along, which is and many of us, or many of you, I have not been great about it all, but calling representatives, right? Working on the elections, getting out the vote.
Sebi, I'm sorry. I'll get it
Right. So
Thank
there's
you.
Just call
all the
me
regular stuff
by a
that
crazy
makes
name.
democracy work that we have been doing and should have been doing for all these years. And now we're in a situation of special danger, and we need to double down. There were a couple of ideas that I've heard floated. In terms of the community member who was kidnapped by ICE, I went to a training from a group in North Carolina that did an ICE out program. So what they did was they went around and talked to local businesses and said, listen, this is a question of the Fourth Amendment. This is a question of your right to not have the police or the government invading your home, your place of business. And they got people to put up posters saying, ICE, if you try to come in, we want a signed judicial warrant. Just to add, that may not stop them, but it adds another layer of defense, and it shows people who may be at risk, because everyone's at risk. It shows people at risk that the community cares about it. Right? So that's something that we could think about. The other thing is, this is a beautiful gathering, and I want to thank Marita for getting it together.
Thank you for the weather.
Yes, the weather's wonderful. Yes.
So it's summer now, it's warm, and what if we did this somewhat regularly? Came together in a public space as the people and talked about what our feelings are, what our needs are. Just be out there and do
We
democracy.
know that we have people who come and protest, sometimes just 3 out in the front. We've seen them. We could all be doing that. We could be putting signs. I have a flag that says democracy over tyranny. I just keep it there out in my front walk. And I think we could all, be more vocal. But, it's not only the threats at home. When he made the decision to bomb, I went back to my roots of Roman Catholicism and started the novenas. Because we do not need to be in a war that could result in a nuclear bomb going off somewhere. And we don't know what kind of retaliation we can see from these situations. This needs to stop, and we need to be vocal about all of that, which can be very tiring and very upsetting. But this is why, kindness, humanity, these are concepts that they seem to have thrown out. When you read about World War II and the atrocities of the Nazis, and right now I'm reading Mitch Albom's something about liar. No, something about liar. Anyway, I'm sorry I don't remember the title, but basically telling about the Jews in Sardinia, where they just basically took the whole city and annihilated them. And I'm also reading The Zookeeper's Wife, where they were in Warsaw, and how people stood up to this, terrible annihilation. But here's the thing. We see this now. We are seeing the same thing now. And I'm beginning to think that I understand why there were some people who fought and some people who felt they couldn't. But, so I want you to understand that just because your best friend won't come out to a candlelight vigil, they're not bad people. But do share with them ways that they can do things in their home, like writing postcards and calling legislators. Supply them with information, even if it's just something to read, some factual information to read. We have to be very creative about how we go about, engaging people. Does anybody else have anything they'd like to say? Mayor Jim.
Just as a reminder, July 17th is the next, don't know what the name of it is.
Oh, it's a Good Trouble Lives.
Lives on.
Lives on. Okay. Okay.
And
Thank
so
you.
be there July 26th. I invite you all to the Newark Valley Summer Fest. We're down today, and not many people know it yet. I did tell the committee last week that there will be a within the parade, Democratic committee. So come on up to Newark Valley, have a good time, and be in the parade. We're going to have a table there also, but be in the parade, be active. We're all active. Be active. Grab everybody else to go with you. And I guess we need signs too, but
Oh yeah.
we'll figure that out.
For the 17th, you mean?
For the 17th and for July 26th in Newark Valley.
Sure. Sure. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Please come forward.
Yeah, I'm one of the.
Hi, Linda.
Yeah.
Thank you, Linda.
Hi. I'm one of the leaders of Indivisible Binghamton, and when we had the No Kings rally, they're estimating maybe up to 3,000 people. So we're getting there. We told them to bring signs, flags, because it was Flag Day, but bring flags because we're claiming back our flags. Use your flags, put them out on your house, claim back our flag, claim back our country. That's what we're doing. We're claiming back our democracy. So do that. And we started out the rally with someone was leading the national anthem. And she didn't just sing it, she led it. So we had a good 2,000 people singing loudly the national anthem, and that was a tearful moment to hear all those people. And some people criticized, I don't want to sing the national anthem at this time. We're claiming back our country, so we are. So we want to do that. So the next next national rally is July 17th, and we just printed these out today and found a date and a time. We're going to do it at the courthouse just like we did last time, because we had so many people covering the whole grounds and going through various different streets as well. It was powerful, and then we walked down Court Street with that. So the numbers are good. Well, this one is because it's John Lewis's so it's going to be on Thursday, 4:30. May not be as big as the other one because of the day, but this is not going to be our last. We're just going to keep going. So I got some extra. I'll pass them out. Okay. Yeah, we're going to try to, and if you want to make copies of those and post them.
Yes.
We had people, even though we had that many people at the last protest for the No Kings, there were people coming up later saying, we didn't know about it.
Yes.
It's like, how did you not know about it? Because they don't go through our avenues of communication.
Right.
They're not using the internet the way they do, so we have to find other ways of letting them know. And we're going to post those flyers all over the place. So feel welcome to make copies, post them, spread the words, and see.
We'll have to see whether or not we're having one here.
We'll probably have
We'll have one here too.
probably have them here, but a lot of people do though. Like even for our New King's Day, we had people come down to Binghamton, and some Binghamton people come up here. I think that's community. That's great.
That's community, and
Yes.
when you have protests, if you're not having protests on the days that we are, we're going to get people down like we just did today to stand with you to give you bigger numbers.
Yes.
Okay.
We need to do that.
Yeah, we got it. Everybody's got to unite.
So
Yes, thank you.
yes,
I want to just speak about something I'm doing down in Broome County.
come on,
Mary. We'll make it quick, we'll make it fun. So what was really interesting, my name's Dolores Smith, and this is my partner in crime, Mary Mullaney. We live in Binghamton, and we're really sick up to here of what's been going on. And what we're really tired of is how much inaction we're seeing. that people are not caring, they're not voting. And we realize there's like a lot of clusters of people that you were talking about that just, they're not voting. They're just not, like, how do we reach them? So Mary and I came up with this idea called the White Rose Network. And our model's a little bit different. We've had 3 meetings so far with a group. Some days we had as many as 18 people there. And what we do is we talk about everything that's going on. We get to vent, we get to purge, we get to laugh. Mary makes wonderful food. We get to eat. Thank you, Mary. And the nice thing is what we're focused on is getting people to start branching out and create their own network. So it's White Rose Network, based on the White Rose group from Nazi Germany, a group of German students that ended up being assassinated because they stood up for their beliefs. And it's a really poignant story what happened to them. I asked you guys to look it up, White Rose Group, 1942, 1943. And that really inspired us to do something, because if a small group of people can do something, we have communication now. So what we're doing is the people that come to our meetings, like let's say you two came to our meeting, okay? I say, okay, are you ready to branch out on your own? Go, sure am. Say, great. So find 4 or 5 of your friends, family members, people around the court, and you go, well, there's a guy down there, I don't know who he is, but he had a Kamala sign up in his yard. I say, well, guess what I have? I have the Broome County Board of Elections database on my computer, and I will tell you that man's name. I will tell you how frequently he votes. I will give you his address and his phone number and his full name. I'll let you know if he's married or not. I will let you know as much information as in the voting database. So that's powerful information that most people don't realize is available to all of us. We can't see who somebody votes for. We know the super voters, but we also know, importantly, are the people that hardly vote. They come out for the presidential if we're lucky. And those are the ones that we all have those quiet conversations and can go talk to, have these people come over and say, here's the things that are going on, and we want you to be aware of how important your vote is and how important it is for you to know the truth of what is happening, and to also share that with people that you know. As we grow, that network is going to get all through Broome County, and we're hoping to get people in Tioga. We're talking to people down in Susquehanna County. They're really interested in it too. Mary and I brought business cards, so if anyone wants to talk about it, I'm a chatter, obviously, so feel free to stop us.
And the Mohawk Valley in the visitor group
Mohawk
was
Valley.
also interested in
Yeah.
the business. So.
Yeah, it's like,
We've given out around 300 white rose pins.
yes.
So if you see somebody with the right white rose pin, you know we're fighting fascism.
We are.
That's such a symbol.
Yes. So thank you. So I'm here, and I got like a pocket full of business cards. So let me know if you want any. Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Right over here if you want.
Okay, I'll make.
Is anyone here a union member? Union members? So, excellent. One, organized labor has a special. I'm not a union member now. I was a teacher in Chicago. Organized labor has a really special role in the fight for democracy. Teachers' unions have been doing incredible work, but all unions, because when workers stand together, they have the power to bring things to a stop. Right? They can exert pressure on ruling interests in a way that most other groups can't. So, if your union is not yet statements organizing people, talking about how to protect people in workplaces, it's something that you can talk about. You can raise in your union meeting. You can, because it's not, we have to build new networks, and we have to activate the networks and organizations that we have. So thank you.
And that includes PTAs,
Churches.
senior centers, knitting groups, sewing groups. Anytime, I like to tell the story about going to have blood taken, and this woman had a sign that said something about a dumpster fire. And I said, oh, do you know that they crochet dumpster fires? They make little, like crochet dumpster fires. I really want to make one. I said, but I'm kind of too busy. Now, I don't know this lady from Adams. I said, I'm kind of too busy because I'm knitting a Gulf of Mexico scarf. She said, wow, that's awesome. Isn't he a jerk? And then I told her about the SAFE Act, because at that time we were really getting on the SAFE Act. But again, it's an example of where just a simple conversation can really lead you. My husband and I actually had the pleasure of going around to our Tioga County libraries. And the Tioga County Democratic Committee purchased a book by David Sedaris called Pretty Ugly, which is a children's book. And basically the theme is that everyone is beautiful. And we gave this book as a donation to each library. And at the last library that I stopped at, which quite frankly, here's where, assuming gets you in trouble. I kind of walked in very gingerly because I was thinking this is a very conservative community, and I thought, oh boy, let's see how this goes. And the librarian there sat down and said, please take a seat. Tell me why you did this. I thought, wow, none of them asked me that question. And I said, well, we feel that during Pride Month, it's a great opportunity to let people know how valued they are and that everybody is beautiful. And behind us was a woman wearing a t-shirt with a lot of writing that was very religious. And I hear her say, that's right, and we shouldn't be judging anybody.
Right.
I felt like that was worth it. Does anybody else have anything to say as we begin to wrap up our... Yes, please.
I've been thinking we probably all have folks that we know they're going to be impacted by this thing they're voting on yesterday and today and into the next week or so. The big beautiful thing, right? And if somebody that had access to data could figure out in our community how many people are getting something now from the government that they're going to lose because of this vote, and I'm sure they really need it. It'd be good to have the data and the statistics. Well, it's 45% of our people are going to lose SNAP and this and this and this. If we knew what that number was, the paper, if they put stuff like that up.
Yes.
I don't know how you get that information. Or what, you can't put people's names in the paper, obviously.
So our resolution, thank you to Mayor Jim, who was able to get that information. In Tioga County, we are looking at 30% Medicaid and 5,000 SNAP recipients, and that should be going to the press hopefully tomorrow. So.
Good. And also, in addition to the percentages, because oftentimes people see those numbers, they don't believe them, right?
Right.
And so, specific stories. Here we have this individual who's been detained and has a name and has a business and has relationships and has connections within this community. So for all of us going forward, and that was the challenge, like I said, on the Food Bank Council, we're trying to say, what are the direct impacts? And we already know how many requests there are now, but anytime there's any new information, I talked with a former colleague of mine. She works for Cooperative Extension. She has worked for many years on the Workforce Investment Opportunity Grant, a federal grant. And so I asked her, how is that funding? How are things going? She says, good right now, because they want to stay for the initial cuts. They're going to cut everything, but they said, no, you can't do that. But right now, she said, in the bill, a third of the funding will be cut. And that's a program that helps people get trained and skilled to go into the workforce. Just what Republicans claim they think is important to do.
Yeah.
And already nutrition educators are all on the chopping block.
Yeah.
All of them, for staff educators. So, so I don't understand how they feel there will be no impact on the economy when all of these people lose their jobs. Oh, and Cornell University, 60% of the jobs in Tompkins County are through Cornell University. 60%. One of the administrators is on the council with us, and he shared it is going to be devastating.
So we're looking at a lot of economy issues, but we also need to remember that we have a voice, we can fight back, we can write letters, we can write postcards, we can make phone calls, we can come together and protest, and we have to do these things. Ruth, you had something?
Well, I coordinate 9 parishes with the soup kitchen in Owego. And I work through the food building. Right. And they had meals. I had an older man come one night, and he said, I never thought I'd be, this has been recent, before the cuts. And he said, food's so expensive, I can't afford it. He said, I was assured prices were going to come down.
Yeah, on day one.
And,
Get your voter registration right in front of
there
you.
you go. Well, and unfortunately, many of them are voting for Trump. They voted for Trump because they were promised.
Yeah.
So
We are going to have a lot of work at helping these folks who are cut. We have to watch and find them and help lift them up, get them involved with whatever resources we wind up remaining that we have, and develop new resources, because there's so many people that are going to be hurting. Mayor Jim.
A bunch of us were on the call on a teleconference with the Congressman Langley. And I got to ask him a question. And the first question was basically repeating what we had said, what Sister Mary had said, and what the data we got from the county on SNAP and on Medicaid. And he said, and our county tells us there's no fraud in Tioga County. Right. So, Congressman, that's no fraud, no fraud. He goes, okay, no fraud. Okay, so, but we know dollars are being cut because they're claiming it's only fraud. Those people fraud. Those are being cut. So I said, okay, assumption. I can't remember exactly how I said it, but basically I said assumption. So nobody in Tioga County there's no fraud. So everybody that's in SNAP, everybody that's in Medicaid is going to stay on that program. Now, however, they cut so many dollars, extrapolate that to all the other counties, so there's very little fraud. So when you cut it, you didn't know what to cut because you didn't know where the fraud was yet. So what happens when you run out of money for Tioga County and there's still people not getting it? The answer? They said, well, it hasn't gone through, I can't answer because it hasn't gone through the Senate yet, and we don't know if the Senate's going to do it. Because it's solely an expression.
But our county legislators very clearly said that the taxes will raise for the rest of us. It is getting late. I again thank you all for being here, and I'd like to leave you with Emily Dickinson words. If I can stop one heart from breaking, if I can stop one heart from breaking, I shall not live in vain. If I can ease one life the aching, or cool one pain, or help one fainting robin unto his nest again, I shall not live in vain. Ladies and gentlemen, you definitely have lifted my heart. Thank you so much for coming out tonight.
Yeah. Thanks for organizing this, Maria.
yes, thank you.
Yes, thank you.
It's nice meeting everybody.
Yes.
Thanks for welcoming Binghamton.
Thanks for coming over from Binghamton.
You know,
We got 6 of us here.
we actually got into BNG because of the picnic. I was impressed.
And a very positive,
Very positive
look.
one. Yes.
And that's why visibility matters. Visibility, and you don't know what you're going to
to see you again.
You as
That's
well.
May. Thank you for filming all this.
And he sings, so he likes to sing.
Sure. I'm Andy. Your first name again?
Oh no, it's, yeah, if we'd have known that, we could have shared. And if we arranged that, we didn't know that. All right, we still have a
Thank you for watching.